Black people are not only the fathers and mothers of humanity, we are the fathers and mothers of civilization. And there is no civilization without science, technology, engineering, the arts, and mathematics. African-centered STEAM is what got us here, and African-centered STEAM is going to take us where we need to go. The Uhuru Academy and Conscious Ingenuity have teamed up to launch a live, virtual Black History and STEAM camp for youth ages 7 through 16 from July 18, 2022 through July 29. Tuition is just $60 a day, and students will learn the history of Black people in STEAM and receive a STEAM kit delivered to their door that will include microcomputers, LEDs, nodes, and more to work on projects with Dr. Oyamaya of Morgan State University. Our glorious past meets our limitless future. Go to uhuruacademy.com to enroll today or call 682-233-5054 for more information. The most valuable investment you'll ever make is in your child's mind.
Baba, I love when you end with that, Baba. When you end, you got to unmute yourself, Baba.
Yes,
but I
ma'am.
love how when you said the most valuable investment that we can make is in your child's mind. Baba, Ashe to that, Baba. Ashe.
What are they learning? What are they thinking? What are we pouring into our children?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Bob. And shout out to the people in the building. I see that the first person to comment was RBG, red, black, and green. Hotep to you, King. Peace and black power to you, King.
Hotep, black power.
So tonight, well, not tonight, Bob. I'm so used to you and I going live in the evening. Look, I'm so used to us going live in the evening. I'm like, tonight we're gonna. So today, it's 2:30 in the afternoon. But today we're going to discuss the phases of consciousness, family. The phases of consciousness. And let me tell you where this stems from. So Baba and I, we were chopping it up on the phone a few days ago. And so I was telling him my journey. You know, I told him I was ratchet out there in the streets of Baltimore. And so I was telling him my journey and how, you know, we talked about that and just that whole transition, right? So when you're out there and you're asleep to when you begin to wake up. And then you continue on that journey, right? Because we all have a journey, you know. And so I was telling him my journey. He was sharing with me his journey. And I said, you know what, Baba, I think that this would be a great discussion where we actually talk about, you know, our journeys, right? You know, because we all have a story to tell. And we both, you know, agreed that there are phases of consciousness. And so, Baba, I always, defer to our great ancestors, Dr. Amos Wilson, in his book, Blueprint for Black Power, chapter 4, which is entitled Consciousness and Power, because he said our consciousness is a tool of power. In this chapter, he defines what consciousness is. And so I'm on page 91 for those of you who have the book or may want to go back and look this up on your own. And so he says that consciousness refers to a level of physiological and psychological arousal, which permits the individual to be conscious or aware of his internal and external environments. Wait a minute, Baba. So he's saying, Baba, right here, that it's a level of physiological and psychological arousal, which makes the person become aware of their internal. So now we're talking about the self, Baba.
That's right.
Their internal environment, and we are, you and I always talk about Community of Self by Dr. Naeem Akbar.
Naeem Akbar, powerful tool.
Absolutely. So when you become conscious, you become aware of what's happening inside of you, as well as what is happening outside of you, right? So he said, and this awareness facilitates the individual's ability to now regulate his cognitive and behavioral capabilities towards achieving goals he finds desirable. So Baba's saying, wait a minute, once you become consciousness, now this is going to facilitate your ability, right, to regulate your thoughts and your behavior to achieve the goals that you set forth for yourself.
Right. And I think it's important to point out that what Baba is talking about is a process, not an event.
Come on.
Right. It's not after you watch that video. I'm woke now. So now I'm about to save all Black people. I'm conscious now. I'm aware. That's not what he's saying. It's a process, not an event, and it's a constant learning process. Like once you realize that you've broken that threshold, that whoa, hold up, I'm seeing the word a little different. Like when I was in my Black History class, and Dr. AJ Stovall did the whole, why is devil's food cake black and angel's food cake white? Oh, I had a moment like, hey, and I went and regurgitated that to people. You ever wondered why the devil food cake is black and a vanilla food cake? See, it's racism in cakes. Like I really couldn't just break it down. And so he was talking about the psychological dynamics of white supremacy, that sort of thing, right? But I thought I was ready after one lesson, and we have to guard against that. Once you tap into it, you ain't woke yet, you're waking. There's a waking period that goes on. You know what I'm saying? And I think that especially it's important nowadays because you have access to information and so many opinions and all this stuff can go so fast that a lot of us are skipping the waking period and trying to jump straight to woke. But enjoy waking up. Enjoy the process of waking up. Study more, right? When somebody blow your mind with some information, go study the person that don't agree with them. Study both, because that's cool. Hebrew brother might be handsome, sister, and he stepped to you and start telling you about Yahweh. The Muslim brother look good, sharp, start telling you about Allah. And, the other brother got the dashiki on, want to tell you about Oladumare. Don't stop there. They might blow your mind with some information, but understand you're finding out that, man, there's something different out here. There's a lot of different things out here. Right. And I love to encourage people to embrace their own waking process. Don't cling it just to somebody else. Start studying, understand it's a process, not an event.
Not an event, Ashe. And so Bible goes on to say that consciousness is a type of active intelligence. By that it is an adaptational force which utilize instinctual, habitual, innovative, inventive, and creative approaches in responding to various environmental demands and incentives. So wait a minute, Baba. He's saying once we are conscious, he's saying it's an active intelligence, meaning that we're going to utilize, right, that intelligence to adapt or to manipulate or to navigate the environment in which we are situated in, right? So it's an active intelligence.
Active being the key word.
That's right.
Active being a key word. And again, embrace that process, embrace that freedom. And for a lot of us, especially because we're trained in these public schools, not educated, it's a very liberating feeling. Enjoy that. Enjoy that, embrace that learning, and walk into consciousness as a student.
Absolutely. And he says, because of its ability to bring about mental, social, and physical change in both the individual's internal and external circumstances, consciousness may be perceived as the fundamental and essential form of human power. He said that this is our human power because our consciousness, our consciousness, our awareness can dictate what's happening to us internal and externally. So he said, therefore, consciousness can be perceived as human power. So he goes on to say how much power it represents, the nature and outcomes of its influence on that individual's internal and external worlds depend on its level of arousal, organizational, and functional state. So he's saying the amount of power that you have, right? Your human power, which is dictated by your consciousness, that depends on your consciousness, right? How your consciousness is molded, right? He says the arousal, organizational, and functional state. So basically saying the state of your consciousness dictates your human power. That's what he's saying.
Right. And the level to which you've been it's tapped into your core values, your core self, right? Because we can gain some information, but sometimes that information doesn't resonate with your core. It could be how that information came to you. It could be that your spirit's not sitting well with that, but so I think that Dr. Wilson is also saying when he says just state of a level of arousal, did it infiltrate, right? Like, I'm a teacher, but I'm not everybody's teacher, right? And so I've shared information with some people, they'll hear me like, man, look, I'm looking at everything different now, right? And I've shared information with others that say, that sounded good, but you deep, but I like my ham hocks. Thank you. You know what I'm saying? And that's cool. I'm not everybody's teacher. So that level of arousal, and that's why you have to have consciousness in several different forms and coming at us in different ways, from different people, from different areas, because each one of us have a different combination to our lock that has to be picked or figured out before our consciousness is truly tapped into.
That's facts. That's facts, Baba. That's
Yeah.
facts. And what I hear and what I heard when you were speaking is just different, like you said, degrees of consciousness. Mm-hmm. So you have the sleepful phase, right, and then the wakeful phase. And so we were all asleep at one point. I know that I was, Baba, until I read the book From the Browder File by Anthony T. Browder. And so for you said it was that teacher in the classroom.
It was Dr. A.J. Stovall at Wiley College. I was in school on an academic scholarship, and I had to take an elective. And the only reason why I chose Black Studies is because everything else was taken. I did not want to take Black Studies. Harriet Tubman, I knew Black history already. Harriet Tubman, Martin Luther King, we go home. I had no idea about our story before slavery. I had no idea there was a such thing as an ancient African civilization. I graduated at the top of my class, Dr. Maat, in high school. So I got to college thinking I knew something. I was going to give me a light skin to white wife and a house and be an engineer and give me some kids with good hair, and it's going to be on, right? But I took this class and he made us read the first book that Dr. Stovall had us read together was The Miseducation of the Negro.
Beautiful.
And our textbook was the intro to Black Studies by Dr. Maulana Karanga. Right. And so I'm reading this and I'm like, whoa, Miseducation of the Negro, that was heavy, Dr. Carter G. Woodson. And it got to me. But the next book was the autobiography of Malcolm X. I was calling home when I read that. When I got the autobiography of Malcolm X and I read Malcolm's life, I didn't know who Malcolm X was. I'm a freshman in college. This was right before the movie came out. So I ain't know who Malcolm was. I'd heard the name, but didn't know. And when I read about some of the conditions as he was describing his father getting killed and some of the conditions of that time. And, we didn't have Google back in those days. So I'm just reading and I'm like, man, so I'm calling home, mama, it was this bad. And for the first time, my mother started sharing real stories. Because in a lot of Black families, those of us who grew up in the 70s and 80s or came of age in the 80s, our families didn't talk about Jim Crow.
Oh, that's a fact. That's a fact.
They weren't telling us about that. So my mama, for the first time, was telling me about how my granddaddy had to step off the sidewalk and take his hat off and put his head down if white people were passing by them on the street, and how they was known as the Kellerman's niggas in town because that's who her parents work for. You know what I'm saying?
I'm listening, Baba.
Like, it's like this, and so that tapped into me. That's what resonated with me. And then all kind of stuff started making sense. My homies joining gangs and clinging to any type of identity that they could started making sense. Black people leaving in the community and starting to speak all nasally and not trying to have anything to do with Black people. That started making sense to me. Movies started making sense. And I'm like, oh, this stuff runs deeper than I thought. And then I just went down a rabbit hole and, the rest is history. I ended up leaving school because what resonated with me was working with Black people. And I ended up leaving Wiley and coming home after 1 year because I wanted to get engaged in the gang truce process in my city. And I'd never been in a gang, but I had friends who were. So as a young man, 18 years old, for me, and I thank God for Dr. A.J. Stovall and then another jag and I had Ricky Clark and another brother named Will Muhammad, because they got like Dr. Wilson said right there on how it's cultivated and organized. The ancestors put me in these brothers in my life that organized my mentality to where from the jump, for me, gaining consciousness was for the express purpose of uplifting our community. Nothing else. It wasn't for me to learn how to levitate. It wasn't for me to ascend to another dimension. It was for me to become a soldier in the army to uplift our people and liberate our people.
Ashe.
And I thank God that that's always been the context through which I study.
Well, for me, family, and for me, Baba, the catalyst for me, as I was saying, Baba, before you kind of, I was trying to tell the people, but thank you, Baba. Thank you, Baba.
No problem. I just took my little time.
So look, family, the catalyst for me, as I stated earlier, is when I read the book From the Browder File by Anthony T. Browder. This book woke me up. And a matter of fact, I was downtown. I was about 15 years old. We talking 96. I was 15, and I was downtown in Baltimore, hanging out with my friends. I believe that I was cutting school, to be honest with you. You know how you get older, Baba, and your memories of past events get a little fuzzy. So I believe
you
that
probably
I was
lied
cutting
about it for years. Now you're old enough. Okay, I guess I can confess now.
I guess I can confess. I think we were cutting school, and we went down to an area. If you all Google it, in Baltimore, it's called Lexington Market. And so this is where people come down, and you can buy food, jewelry. A bunch of vendors are inside of this building, okay, where you can buy all sorts of stuff, inside the building and even outside of the building. So I was hanging out with my friends at Lexington Market, and while we were walking down the street, there was a gentleman selling books. And so Baba, at that time, he calling us over, come look at my books. We don't want to look at no books. We ready to chill, probably go smoke some weed, whatever we were doing, right? But we didn't want to go look at any books. But he insisted on us coming over to his table to check out his books. So we looked at his books. We weren't impressed. We began to leave. And so he said, you. Turn around. Me? Yes, you. He said, here. He said, I want to give you this book, for free. You don't have to pay me anything for it. Baba, when I went back to Lexington Market, after I read this book, I never saw the gentleman again. Never. I couldn't tell you what he looks like. I've never encountered him again. So he gave me the book. He gave me From the Browder File for free. I went home. It sat on my dresser for a few months. And then I remember one day becoming curious about the cover. Who is this on the cover? I've never seen this person. I just became curious about the cover. So then I opened the book, and on the first page, Baba explains the person on the cover, the artwork. Right. And so he says, okay, it's a child of the sun coming into enlightenment through the attainment of knowledge. So the child of a sun, it says the rays of the light which emanate from the solar plexus travel up the staff, which represents the spine of Asar, the Lord of resurrection. And this light illuminates the Ankh, the symbol of life, at the top of the staff. The illuminated Ankh radiates light to the pineal gland, the all-seeing eye of enlightenment, which is symbolically represented by the serpent on the forehead. So, then he says the symbolic imagery of the cover art in the poem Transition 13 on the following page represents the process of self-empowerment, which comes from the attainment of knowledge. So here it is. I'm like, like I said, I'm 15 and I'm reading this, how self-knowledge will empower you and knowledge will enlighten you. And, you got to attain it. So I'm like, man. So then, Baba, I started reading the book. After I read that, I was hooked. So he's talking about African history, but for slavery. Because in my 15-year-old mind, our history starts with slavery. Abraham Lincoln emancipated us. Then we went into the period of Reconstruction, then Jim Crow, and then the Civil Rights Movement, then the Black Power Movement. So that's what I thought I knew. Right, and now we free. So I thought that was our history, the beginning and the end. But Anthony T. Browder talked about a number of things in the Browder File. So he talked about Kemet. He talked about melanin. He talked about holidays. He talked about religion and the Council of Nicene. He talked about the politics of hair.
The symbols on the dollar.
Right, the symbols on the dollar. So I actually remember being 17, going to my pastor. And he's now an ancestor. He transitioned a few years back, but he was my pastor at that time. And I went to him confused. I was confused about things that I believed in. But no, I wasn't 17. I was 19. I was 19. So this is 4 years after reading the book. I went to my pastor and I said to him, why do we have that cross, on the pulpit, above the pulpit? Why not the ankh? And at that time I had the ankh. I still had the ankh tattooed on my body. It's old now. But I said, why don't we have the ankh? And I started breaking down the ankh. I started talking to him about the Council of Nicene. And I said, you told me that the Bible was written by men inspired by God. But here it is. I'm hearing that 340 bishops came around the world. These were white folks. And so I'm going, not at them, but I'm just, I was hurt when I went to my pastor because I honestly believed everything he told me since I was a little girl about the Bible. I held on to everything, memorized the books of the Bible, memorized scriptures. I was in Sunday school. I was in all the Easter plays. I was always in service. And so I began to start asking questions. And then by the time I turned about 2021, I was out of the church. I was completely out of the church.
Questioning God.
Absolutely. I was gone. And so after I read the Browder File, that's when I went to Everyone's Place, which is, I call that the Kemet of Consciousness here in Baltimore. I went to Everyone's Place. I spoke with Baba Nati. I asked him for some more literature to read, and he pointed me to Dr. Naeem Akbar's work. So I read Breaking the Chains of Psychological Slavery.
Great
then
book.
I read Community of Self. Then after that, I read the autobiography of Malcolm X.
Yes.
Then I started reading Life and Opinions of Marcus Garvey. Then I read Miseducation of the Negro. So my consciousness started evolving. It started changing as I began to gain more and more knowledge. And then, Baba, I got introduced to the work. It wasn't until about 2014, 2015, when I met Brother Onkaket, that I started getting introduced to the work of Dr. Charles Finch, Dr. Ben, Dr. John Henry Clark.
Yes.
When I met the brothers at the Temple of New African Thought, they introduced me to the work of Dr. Amos Wilson.
Right.
So I love, Baba, how you keep emphasizing that consciousness is, it's a process. It's not an event. So your consciousness is always changing, and hopefully it's changing for the better.
Yes. And I think that's where your consciousness marries your intent. Right. And if you're walking in that, if you're responding to it and walking in it, that evolution is going to happen.
Absolutely.
That evolution is going to happen because, new things are going to cross your path. And the key is to be open to it. Right. And that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to change. Somebody's trying to change you. But if something taps into your spirit and it's a transformation that you feel is relevant to where you're trying to go, embrace that transformation. Right.
That's right.
If it's information that you don't believe, then learn that too, so you can know what you're not. I remember the first time I asked, because when I got home from college, when I'm 18 years old, wanted to get involved in the community. The only group that was doing anything black in my city was the Nation of Islam. Right. And so that's where I went. I was okay. Well, I'm rocking with the nation, and I remember asking a brother, hey, brother, you a Muslim? And he asked me, he said, well, what's a Muslim? I need to know what Muslim is, because based on your definition, I don't know if I'm that. And when he asked me what a Muslim was, I said, I don't know. Somebody who ain't a Christian. That's all I knew at the time. I know you ain't no Christian. I don't know what you are. I just know you ain't no Christian, right? And then the brother broke down. He said, well, actually, a good Muslim, a good Christian are the same thing, because Muslim merely means one who does the will of the Creator. So if that, and I think that's what a good Christian is. So, and when he broke it down to me like that, I'm like, oh, okay, I don't have to be afraid. I can come visit mosque. I can come check this out. Right. And when I opened my mind to it and began to go to mosque, they opened up a whole new world for me. The teachers of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Matter of fact, I was kind of lucky, because some people have to break the dogma from the church, and feel guilt because they leaving the church. We were CMEs. We only went to church Christmas, Mother's Day, and Easter. So I ain't really have a church commitment that needed to be broken, because we didn't go every Sunday, so I wasn't introduced to the Bible really until I started studying with the nation. So Elijah Muhammad taught me about the Bible. So my only reference is the Bible being a book as a tool for liberation for Black people. You know what I'm saying? And that helped me a lot and helped me bring discipline into my life. I wasn't a perfect youth, you know what I'm saying? But I was a good dude, but I did my stuff. I was still running around, chilling and all that. But
We all did, Baba.
We all did, right? But man, I knew what my purpose was inside of this, inside of this consciousness. It showed me that teaching was my purpose, that working with young people was my path. That's the path I chose, you know what I'm saying? But I'm still a student. I learn something new every day.
Say it, Baba.
Every day. 30 years later, I'm still learning. I'm still a student. People come to me, Baba, you deep. Nah, man, the ocean's deep. I'm Baba, I mean.
Right, Baba.
Deep. It's still creatures in the ocean we ain't even seen yet. That's deep. I'm not, I'm still learning. I'm still being poured into.
Absolutely.
And I think that's something that people need to understand. When that first phase of consciousness, though, I didn't think like that. That first phase, it was, I'm right, you wrong.
Same thing.
I'm about to chop you up. Let's
go,
go.
Baba. And then I'm angry. I'm beefing. I'm talking about Sunday dinner. Sunday dinners. My uncle and I, we going at it. It got to a point where my family was like, look, can we have a Sunday where you two aren't battling? Because I'm going, that's the white man's religion. And did you know when we learned that? They imposed that. Christianity was imposed on us. Who was your God before the white man came and got? I'm talking about Baba. This is 20 years, people think I'm fiery now. But 20 years ago, woo boy, I could if I called my uncle up right now, he would laugh. So I'm chopping you down. I'm chopping you down. And that was one phase. So I'm going at the people who didn't necessarily read what I read and didn't understand what I thought I felt I understood at the time. So I'm challenging everything. And so Baba, and then what about the other phase we talked about? Now it's the angry phase.
Right. Because I went through my slicing. You tell her, Mama, take the white Jesus down. Mama, Jesus ain't black. And all this, Mama's like, boy, I don't care what color your Jesus is. You need a job. Just go get a job, whatever color Jesus. So my mom was very practical, you know what I'm saying? So, but I was going through that. I'm slicing and dicing. I'm in school. I'm going to Tarrant County College, slicing and dicing. You know what I'm saying? And then after that, when you do all of that, a frustration kind of sets in because everybody don't change.
No,
everybody don't change instantly like you think they should change. Everybody's not getting it. So now I went through that angry phase. You know what? I hate white folks. I hate Negroes. I can't stand sellouts. I can't stand a coon. I'm I'm at the family have a gathering. I don't laugh no more. Rub up with that mug like every time we're gonna play some domino. Well, dominoes is actually, everything got a science to it, right? And it was a trip, man. One of my jagknives, Ricky Clark, he couldn't take me to meetings because if he take me to a meeting, somebody white come in, I ain't speaking to him. If a Negro saying something, I'm writing him notes like, this old sellout coon. I can't believe you trying to get us to work with him. I don't want him in my hood. And he's like, I can't take you nowhere. No, you can't take me nowhere. Now, if you're going to take me around it. So the angry phase is a real phase, right? But then you realize with the angry phase, the only person you're harming is yourself.
That's a fact.
You angry. You mad the cracker. Ain't now cracker phase by you screaming crack. Go outside and screaming loud. Ain't now black person life been made easier, been made better because you mad.
Because you mad.
Yeah. But your anger, there's a righteousness to that anger though. Because when you find out you've been lied to, when you find out that you've been lied to about who you are, and then when you start feeling a little powerless to do something about it, that anger is righteous. But what you gonna do with it? What you gonna do with it? Don't allow it to fester, right? Because if it's festering inside of you, you begin taking it out on the people that love you, the people that you have access to, because you don't have access to this open enemy that you're studying and that you're talking about. So who gets it? The people you do have access to. So that's a phase of consciousness. You know what I'm saying? That's a process. When you enter that anger process, that's a process where now it's time to learn how to channel that righteous rage and turn it into productive energy.
Absolutely. And I love that you said that, righteous rage. So, it's okay. It's natural. But like you said, what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it? Because like you said, running out here and yelling out cracker, the white man is the devil. That's not changing anything.
No,
that's not changing anything.
And when you're ostracizing yourself from your family, you're ostracizing yourself from probably, for most of us, the most important organization that you belong to, which is your family. right? Now, some of us have families who, especially if you came up in our era, who were bombarded with drugs, bombarded with poverty, generational poverty, all types of issues. And some of us, when we get into this consciousness phase, we'll start trying to save Black people and won't even be an asset to our own family's healing. Right.
Facts.
And so that's another thing, 30 some odd years in, if I was to write a manual right now, based on mistakes that I've made, that's another point that I would definitely put in the manual. That when you're going through the waking up phase, the slice and dice, I'm excited, energetic phase, the bitter and anger phase, right? Remember, at all times, it is still your role and responsibility to be an asset to your bloodline, an asset to your family.
Absolutely, Ashe. That's where it starts. And what I noticed, Baba, I hear echo, Baba, so I'm gonna mute you while I'm talking. But that's where it starts. It starts with our family. And I remember the Temple of New African Thought had invited me to give a talk. This was some years ago. And I made the point that, well, the point that we run out here, or made the statement rather, that we go out here and we join all these organizations. I want to help Black people. I want to uplift Black people. So you're a part of this organization, that organization, and this organization. But your primary organization is your family. And so you got to make sure that that's intact before you run out here and you want to join this organization, that organization, this organization. So if that means healing from generational trauma, then we got to heal from generational trauma. If we can't do it by ourselves, let's solicit an African-centered therapist or a psychologist or psychiatrist, right? In order to heal, but we got to repair that unit first, because remember, a network of families form a community, right? In a network of communities build a nation. And so you can't build a daggone nation with dysfunctional families. You have dysfunctional families, you would have dysfunctional communities, then you have a dysfunctional nation. So we got to repair, our household. We got to mend relationships that are mendable. I'm not going to say, Baba, that all relationships are mendable. There's some relationships. True. Yeah, there are some relationships that
some relationships are mended by separation.
Absolutely.
Distance can mend a relationship at times. And especially and that relationship with self. Which is the primary relationship, because that's how you relate to the rest of the world. And we often can confuse knowledge with discipline. They're not the same thing.
Break it down, Baba.
Okay. In matter of fact, we have a saying that we say in Temple, that knowledge without discipline is useless. Right. And so I thank the Creator that by me being exposed to the Nation of Islam, though I'm not a member of the Nation of Islam today, there are disciplines that I picked up in the Nation of Islam that I still carry in my life, that allows me to move with enough integrity. Because none of us are infallible. That allows me to move with enough integrity to be effective. Right. And so a lot of us will spurn certain organizations, not because we don't believe in the ideology, but because of the work required to be a member. Right. And so the Nation of Islam says, you come in here, we eat one meal a day. We pray 5 times a day. We speak this way, we speak that way, we dress in a suit. You know what I'm saying? And all that, which got me, I was a bad FOI. I play too much and I don't like to wear suits, right? But it didn't resonate with me, right? But we sometimes we confuse knowledge with discipline, which is dangerous today, because a lot of people have knowledge. It's the information age. But in order to gain self-discipline, that's when fasting comes into play. That's when getting control of your diet comes into play. Meditation, that spiritual work, that work you have to do with self, getting that counseling that you're talking about, right?
Absolutely.
But working on self, your personal hygiene, just your personal motivation. You have to work on you. And I don't care how much knowledge you gain, if you're not dealing with the things that are broken inside of you, it's going to manifest. It's just going to have a dashiki on when it does.
Facts.
So that's just something that in our phases of consciousness, don't lose sight of the fact that the most important relationship that you have is your relationship with yourself. And you have to continue to work on self. People will start calling you smart. You'll start thinking that means you're the leader. Then you'll get into a compromising situation where you get tempted and you realize you're not as self-disciplined as everybody thought. And here comes the fall. So if I come out and people, boy, you the king of the movement, you the king of the movement. Then a stripper come on or the girl come on the next week and say, king of the movement, that's Teddy Bear. He just over my house last week. See, that's your fault. You let them call you the king of the movement. You should have came and said, no, I got some really good ideas that I think we can work on, but I'll do a little tricking on the side too. I ain't there yet. And just be real with it.
Right. Be honest. Be honest.
Just be real with it.
Right.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm still Teddy Bear on these streets. But hey, I'm down with black people. I'm working on me as you're working, rather than coming out saying, oh, I am here. And you must follow me. My cash app is $. I'm woke. You know what I'm saying? And whoop, whoop. Then the next thing I know, your baby mama come up there and say, that boy ain't seen his child in 6 months.
Right. And then you out here preaching about the black family.
Yeah, on here preaching about the black family. No, you can't do it like that. You can't do it like that. Don't forget about your own development, because your ego got you got you feeling like you something because you helping somebody else with theirs.
That's a fact. That's a fact, Bob. And so after the angry phase, Bob, so we both admit that we went through that phase of, first of all, not knowing, right? So we didn't know, just operating in ignorance. Right. Then the next phase, now we get some knowledge and we begin to start challenging people around us, right? So we battling. Then we get to the next phase, which is anger. So you angry because you're like, man, I'm trying to spread the knowledge. Black folks not listening to me. I don't like white folks. So now you get a little bitter. You become a little angry. And then what was the next phase for you, Baba?
Next phase for me, I had to step away for a minute and deal with me. So the next phase for me, in order to get out of that angry phase for me, I stepped away from working with young people. I kind of stepped away from everything for a minute, looked at my life and said, okay, I got to get to them, because I had gotten away from knowing me. Because if you're angry, if you're going through that angry phase, you've gotten out of touch with yourself, right? Because you're not mad at black people. You're not mad at white people. You're mad at you. Why am I like this? Why is this affecting me like this, right? And when I realized that I was angry with me, then I had to step away and get back to dealing with who? With me. Let me stabilize my life. Let me stabilize how I eat, because I found myself emotional eating. I was losing discipline and the whole nine. It's hard to stay disciplined when you're angry and upset and frustrated, So the next phase after that anger phase, a lot of people I see, we kind of get back to ourselves, move away a little bit, say, man, I'm just working on me. I'm just, you know what? I'm just gonna go to work every day, eat my little cheese sandwich at lunch for a little while. and I ain't even picking up a book right now. Well, what's on TV these days? Let me go be sleep. I took a nap. I ain't go out and do nothing crazy, but I took a nap for a little while and then started working more on the spiritual side, getting back to that. So that getting back to self phase is important. I think if you coming up out that angry phase, you need to get back to self phase.
And for me, I like that you said I took a nap for a while. I took a nap, but in my nap, I went back out in the world. You understand, Baba? So for me, it was kind of like I'm excited, I'm battling, I'm angry, and you say you took a nap, but you started doing the work on yourself. I took a nap and I went back into the world. Right. So I was out there. I was doing all kinds of stuff. I was out there. I was out in the world. And it wasn't until
don't get me wrong. That was the process, Doc. I was out there too. Okay, I had a nice little Crown Royal habit that I was working on during my nap.
Yeah. So it was like during my nap, I was literally, I was in the world, Baba, and so then it wasn't until I shared with you that I got sat down. Literally, I have an ankle monitor on my ankle. So when I got sat down and I'm sitting down for 13 months, it's like, wait a minute, you're not in the world, you're in your house with yourself, with your thoughts. You're alone with your own thoughts. So I'm sitting there with my thoughts. I'm sitting there with my books. And so I began to introspect, Baba, during those 13 months. what choices did I do? What choices did I make in the past 13 months? Not 13 months. I was on the box for 13 months, but I was thinking about the choices that I made, the decisions that I made that got me to that point. What did I do? Because initially, Baba, in my nap, and then when I got sat down, I'm pointing to everybody but myself. This person said, this person told on me, this person did this person did that, right? But then after I got over that, wait a minute, these people could not have done things if I wasn't complicit in them, right? Yeah, so what did you do? So I began to look at, the woman in the mirror. What decisions did I make to get me to this point? I also started within that introspection, I started seeing myself. So I started seeing, why are you so angry? Why are you so angry? You're angry at men. You're angry with your father. Oh, so okay, so that's the connection. So you're angry with men because you're angry with your father. You need to mend that relationship with your father. Oh, you're angry with your mother. You're angry with this person. You're angry because of what took place in your life when you was 8, when you were sexually assaulted. So, I started just unpacking. You know how Erica Badu talk about bag lady? I started literally, going inside of my bag and taking things out little by little, taking out hurt, taking out anger, taking out disappointment, and started unpacking my bag. Once my bag got lighter, I was able to then move into doing the spiritual work and meditating and getting back to, not even getting back, healing.
There it is.
It was healing. So once I unpacked my bag, I didn't realize, that I was starting to heal from the things that was going on. You know what I mean? And so that was my nap. And then after my nap, I meet Uncle Cat. I met Uncle Cat, and he's getting into all of the stuff. Dr. Ben, Dr. John Henry Clark, and Dr. Amos Wilson from the Brothers of New African Thought. So then I started finding my way back to the information, finding my way back to the knowledge. And then after that, just having the knowledge wasn't good enough for me, Baba. I said, wait a minute, I want to apply it, not just have it, not just possess it, but to actually apply what I'm learning in these books. I remember Baba Imhotep said, he made a beautiful statement. He said, it's not about how many books that you read. It's about how well you master the content and apply it. So I moved from that to now I want to apply this knowledge that I have. Just having it and being able to regurgitate, that wasn't good enough. It's like now, okay, what can I do with the work of Dr. Amos Wilson? What can I do with the work of Dr. Ben and Dr. John Henry Clark? What can I do with the work of Baba Akoto, Kwame Akoto? What can I do with the work of Jawanza? Like, what can I do with the work of Dr. Francis Cress Welsing and Dr. Patricia Newton? What can I do? And so now I'm in that phase. That's my current phase right now, Baba. What can I do? And that's now applying the knowledge that I have. So, Baba, go ahead and finish. Tell me the rest of your phases. So you took your nap.
Yeah, I took my nap. I was just focusing on music. I was traveling the country. We'll click. The furthest thing from the Black movement, you know what I'm saying? Possible. I'm just a pro-Black person in the clique. But I'm doing voiceovers. I'm doing all up that type of work. And after a while, that itch was still there. And so I would be all day developing talent and doing things like that. Then at night I'll be in my little attic and I'll be writing. I was writing an album over this probably like a 2-year period. I wrote this album called The Field Nigga. Right. And it's just what's inside of me being poured out. And I didn't have any producers for it because everybody I was around wasn't into conscious music. I didn't have anybody to engineer for me. So during this time, I taught myself how to engineer. I taught myself how to produce. I was already a writer. So I'm creating this album that I produced, wrote the whole thing by myself just to stay anchored in my beliefs. And when I finished it, something came over me that said, okay, it's time to go back to the hood. It's time to go back to the community, and that's what I did. I went back to the hood. I opened a studio in the community and began and just got back on my mission. And I told myself, whatever I do, don't lose what you have as far as what your mission is. Don't lose that. Cling to that, right? And then work on self. But I had done some damage to myself by that time. And so I had to go through a period of self-forgiveness as well. Because when you don't forgive yourself, when you're upset with yourself or disappointed in yourself about some things, whether it's not finishing school or missed opportunities or whatever, you could begin to damage yourself by your eating habits or drinking habits, smoking habits, and you can rationalize all that stuff to to yourself. Like, this is just what I do, but I'm helping such and such over here. I'm doing these positive things over there. You know what I'm saying? And so I guess I went through a period of internal compromise where I took my nap. I wasn't ready to get all the way back right. I'm going to do right, but I was using the right that I was doing to justify the wrong that I was doing. Right. And so I guess we can call that the cultural compromising phase. And I see a lot of people in that phase these days because we'll get the knowledge, but we don't want the discipline to come with it. So you know what? We passing out coats to the kids, but yeah, I'm on Papa Molly later.
I'm with you.
Yeah. We're gonna party like we do. We're gonna keep cussing. We're gonna keep, promoting gangster music. We're gonna keep doing all this stuff. We're going to be openly hypocritical, right? But we're going to do some great things. We're going to say black love is black power. We're going to do all this good stuff, but we're not going to evolve. We're still going to die from diabetes. We still going to be obese. We're still going to do that, but we'll scream loud on social media. We'll dress the part. So it's like a cultural compromising phase. I still want to be cool and relevant and fit in, but at the same time, I want to be a part of Black empowerment, a Black empowerment movement, right? And I think a lot of us struggle to find that balance in our lives where we're at peace with how we live and at peace with how we relate to everything around us, And when you have out of balance consciousness or information without discipline, you find a lot of people who are lacking balance in their lives. You want the information fast. You want to look like you with it. But as far as the look, y'all, ain't nobody 25 years old a guru at nothing.
Come on, Baba.
Okay, I'm sorry. It takes more than 20. The mystery schools in ancient Kemet, you had to be at least 42 years. Okay, nobody at 25 years old who woke up when they was 19 is a guru. Nobody,
Baba.
Okay. They're skipping steps. That's why when you see some, we ain't gonna name none on here, but when you see some, what we say, that's a young, bright, intelligent brother, but he ain't got no business having 50,000 people waiting on him to tell them what to do. And then you see life hit these young people, and they realize that just cause you quote unquote deep don't mean somebody won't call the police on you. It don't mean that when your woman is mad at you, she won't, things won't go down for you and happen like you say they are. And now they'll have a mental breakdown because they're like, oh, I thought I was ascended.
It's not funny.
You're still a person, bro.
That's right.
You're still a person.
You're still a person.
Yes. And so don't lose sight of that. And people out there need to, those who are seekers, true seekers. Look, every movement is a bridge for some and a home for others. Treat everyone like a bridge until your core value system says this is home.
Facts, Baba. Facts. And Doc, Baba, we're all a work in progress.
That's right.
We're all a work in progress. And I go by Dr. Maat, but I strive to live by those principles. Dr. Kaba always says, think, speak, and live Ma'at. Think, speak, and live Ma'at. And so when you say Ma'at, it's like you gotta, it's like I'm still in that process of trying to, practice those principles every day. Sometimes I fall short. Like you said, we're humans. We fall short. Yeah. But guess what? But guess what? Guess what? We should all be striving to perfect those principles, in practice. We got to strive to do that. And so yeah, absolutely, Bobby. And so that's where I am right now in that phase, applying what I know. Okay. Applying, what our ancestors should be saying, applying what our ancestors said regarding the education of our children, regarding establishing families and building nations. And so that's where I'm in right now. And I want to apply everything, even when it comes to character. Character is real big to me.
Right.
So just making sure that I perfect my character. One of the principles of my I'm looking at it on my board. it says right here, first make your heart perfect, and then you can develop your mind and body. So it talks about perfecting the heart, right? And I'm not saying literally the heart. We know that the heart pumps blood to the body, but we're talking about character here, perfecting my character. So I strive to do that every day, Baba. 3 things I strive to do. I strive to think free. I strive to perfect my character, and I move with a purpose. Those are the 3 things that I strive to do every day. Think free, perfect my character, move with a purpose. So if I'm involved in something, it has to be purposeful. Otherwise, I'm not with it, Baba. If I'm out and about and I'm out in the world going places, I want to make sure that I'm moving with a purpose. We don't have time, Baba, to just be doing frivolous stuff. Just frivolous. Oh, no. I need to be moving with a purpose. Meaning is the activities that I'm engaged in, are they aligned with my ancestral assignment? And I'm aware of my ancestral assignment. So these activities that I'm involved in right now, are they in alignment with my ancestral assignment? And if it's not, you won't see me. You won't see me. Now, do I spend time with my family? Yeah, the family might, celebrate somebody's birthday. We go to a restaurant or do something with the family. Absolutely. But outside of stuff like that, Baba, it gotta be outside of, it gotta be aligned with my purpose, Baba, else you won't see me there. And that's where I am in my life.
I say, and that's a powerful phase, because once you get to know yourself more, right, and once you settle into your purpose and you learn how to enjoy it, and because that was one of my things why I needed to take a nap, because it started feeling like work. And if it starts feeling like work, then I need to, then it's something I'm not doing right. There's something that I need to correct. Like right now today with Uhuru Academy, it doesn't feel like work. I don't have a job. When I get up, if I get to get up and do something that I love so much, I'll do it for free, but I do it so well, people will pay me for it. I'm successful, right? And so that part in my commitment to being a husband and a father, right? That's a part of my development. That's a part. I didn't want to go when I woke up from my nap. I didn't want to go through this single. When I knew I was going to start a school, and I knew that I had a calling spiritually, right? I said, well, you know what? I got to commit. I have to make some commitments in my life to bring some order to my life. And this is what worked for me. Having that divine complement right there as a man, and that helped me. That helped me because I literally hide behind my wife. Especially in the beginning, some beautiful sisters coming to the temple and the school, things like that. I'm like, yeah, this is my wife and Koyo. Bam, let me show you. Ooh, bam, you know what I'm saying? Like, we ain't gonna leave this up to me and you. Let me sit her right here. And let's, And I love children, but you can't love the community's children and you don't love your own children.
Say that again, Baba. Say that again.
You can't love the community's children if you don't love your own children. Right. And so I love children, and I'm in love with my children, and just so being a father to make sure I say I love you and that sort of thing. My biological father wasn't there. So I say he was put here to show me what not to do.
That's right.
Areas, right. And so in forgiving him, I forgive myself as a father, because I have shortcomings too. And so I have to learn how to forgive myself and then give of myself to those that are around me. But I've also had to learn how not to let snakes in my bosom, right? Not to allow people to appeal to me, because my heart bleeds. And I had to learn how to get people out of my life that were just playing on that were just using that. Because the only person I was disappointing was me. I can't get mad at you, Dr. Maat, if I say, yeah, come to Uhuru Academy for free. I got you. And then you come for free and you don't never show up in no meetings, and then calling me every day talking about, you ain't even sent out the report cards yet. I can't get mad at you and say, well, you don't even pay tuition, because who told you didn't have to pay? I did. Right. And so we have to understand, as conscious people, sometimes too, when we come out of that nap and we start rediscovering and forgiving ourselves, we have to be on guard, because we go through vulnerable stages where if just somebody got black skin, they can take advantage of you.
Yeah. Facts. Facts. And I'm looking at Luanza Quince's comment. He said, if a person has so much consciousness and can regulate their mind, then why do some people have a real big problem with dating a person a person looking like themselves, but have to get with a person who looks like the image of those who oppress Black people? Because their consciousness was shaped in a way that allowed that to happen, brother.
Right.
So we got to remember that there are different things that shape our consciousness. Your family, right? Your peer group, your educational system, your community, the media. Oh, definitely the media.
Yeah.
That's a really big one. So you got the media. Hold on, Baba. So you got the media. And so there are different institutions, I'll say, that shape your consciousness. And so if a person is consciousness is shaped, you get what I'm saying, by instruments that foster self-hate within that individual, then of course they're going to want to date somebody that looks like their oppressor. So it depends on how your consciousness is shaped. So Dr. Kobe Kambon, in his book Cultural Misorientation, talks about how when we come into this world, we come in born with an African self-consciousness. But he says that consciousness is weakened depending upon our socialization process. So if we undergo an African-centered socialization process, then we end up possessing a strong African self-consciousness. But when we undergo a European socialization process, then our African self-consciousness is weak, and we acquire what he calls cultural misorientation. So we begin to now operate with a European consciousness, and then we see the world through European lenses. Baba, go ahead. I just wanted to get that out.
Well, I like that, because one thing I've observed in direct relationship to what you just said is some of us gain Black consciousness in the world of academia alone, right? And just like knowledge doesn't translate into discipline, knowledge also doesn't necessarily translate into Black love. So for example, if I'm going into college with the mindset, I got to get out this old stinking ghetto, these old ignorant Black people, this before where you're stinking I can't stand this place. I ain't never coming back to this place. But then I take Black studies courses and I get into Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Joseph Ben Yakinen, and that sort of thing. And I learn a great story. For some of us, I've noticed it makes us not like Black people even more. Rather than bringing us closer to the community, some of us are pushed even further away, because it's kind of, you know what, I'm just going to be with the association of the willing. These Black folks don't want to learn. At this point, there are no excuses for us to be like this and that. And you could become so intellectual in thinking that Black people are dumb. You start thinking as a brother, these sisters don't get me. These sisters don't want me. These sisters want thugs. They want this and that, and then you're still in this Eurocentric, you're trying to download Black power programming on a Eurocentric operating system. You know what I'm saying?
Say it again, Bobby. You gotta say it again.
You're trying to download Black power programming on a Eurocentric operating system, and that can be confusing. So when Susie comes and she says, "You're so intellectual," oh my God, honey, what you say is so riveting. You could be on CNN, right? And now you think, "Oh, she understands me," and next thing you know, you with Susie, with Black power though. You with Susie. Because she understands you, but you're doing a master class on Black history. I ain't naming no names, but you're doing a Black history master class all on Amazon and stuff. But you with Susie at the house. But yeah, hey, it is what it is.
What do you think, Bobby? You said Black power, but you with Susie, because Susie understands.
Yeah, just because you love Black history don't mean you love Black people.
Shout out to Sister Joy Evans. She said, "Love you too. I'm so glad you went through what you went through, because it brought us a gift, and that's you two as complete, profound scholars. That's bringing us information that we need to know. I appreciate you so much." She said, "Be one forever, Ashe, Ashe, Queen, Ashe, Queen to you." So, Bobby,
everybody don't link marrying our own to the larger mission of saving the Black family. A lot of us still carry the attitude that who I love is an individual choice, and it's about my individual happiness. Even though when y'all get together, everyone in your lives are going to be affected.
Right? Everybody. Marriage is communal. Marriage is communal, Baba.
Communal. A part of my consciousness when it came to love was to realize that who I love impacts everyone who loves me. right? And I'm a part of the mission to reinvigorate and save the global Black family. So that means I have to create one, an all Black one. So even if Susie cool, Susie, you don't fit the mission, and the mission is gonna supersede whatever little personal happiness I think you're gonna bring me.
Oh, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, say that again, Baba. The what?
The mission supersedes any so-called personal happiness I think Susie is gonna bring me. So I'll sacrifice Susie for the greater good. I bet you I'll find a Keisha who can do what Susie do. I bet you I can. And better. And you can too, brother, who out there who think ain't no sisters out there for you. Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is. You have a compliment out there with melanin that looks just like you.
Yeah, because you hear that a lot, Baba. Now you know it's like and I see it on you, so you see it from the brothers. I'm in the woman's sphere, listening to it, and so they're talking about divesting. Oh, we divesting in Black men. It ain't a Black man out there for me. Black men. I mean, Baba, it's so disheartening sometimes listening to these women and how just how bitter they are.
Right.
And
they're
how
in that bitter, frustrated stage.
It's like, and they're like, oh, hashtag divest. They call themselves divestors. So what they believe is, they're divesting, from Black men. But then you hear the brothers on the other end saying, I don't want no Black woman. They, too mouthy, too masculine, too aggressive, too ghetto. They don't wear their own hair. So I hear the brothers' complaints as well, Baba. So, but just like you said, it's definitely with all of the confusion that's out there is a compliment out there, like you just said, Baba, who looks like you. We just have to find each other.
You have to find each other. We have to be patient and take advantage of that time alone to get to know yourself more and worry more about who you want to be for someone else than who you want what you want someone else to be for you. And perhaps we won't be so impatient. I see a lot of posts where people say, to be my man, you got to be this, and this. And to be my woman, you got to be this, and this. But I don't see a whole lot of posts that say, if I'm your man, I'm going to be this, and this. If I'm your woman, I'm going to be this, and this. Continue to work on who you're going to be for someone else, as opposed to thinking you're there and you need someone to fit this specific criteria for you. If you're focused on your criteria, you'll understand. You'll see when somebody, not only will you know when somebody's for you, you'll have the discipline, right? You'll have the discipline to not slip and be with somebody who's not for you, but they appeal to your lower self.
Facts.
And because that again, that's a part of consciousness too, right? I see a lot of those of us who have consciousness, African-centered consciousness, that get with people who ain't with that.
That's a fact, Baba.
Get with people who ain't with that, and the conflict comes. And you're gonna either see the new mate get woke, or the woke mate gonna go to sleep. But they ain't gonna both stay the exact same way. It's not gonna happen like that.
Not at all. So that's why it's important. See, I always tell people when I have conversations, even with my sons, I tell them that your mate reflects what's in your consciousness. I know what's in your consciousness based on who you decide or who you select as a mate. I know what's in your consciousness because your mate is a reflection. Your mate is literally your consciousness in the flesh. So I know that if you're a brother or sister and you decide to marry a white person, I know that you're operating with a European consciousness, and I know that you value whiteness. That's what I do know. And to value whiteness is anti-blackness. It's anti-black, and it's also anti-African.
You have to balance it. And I've had brothers very close to me that's had white wives and white girlfriends and things like that, and they still close to me. We grew up together, and we family. We're not family because you chose to do that. But I don't mince any words. When it comes to saying how do you balance? How do you know that's love and it's not white supremacy?
Come on.
How do you know? How do you know that? And if it's white supremacy, if you with her because of a feeling of black inferiority or white supremacy, is that fair to her? Because now she got to be a supreme white person for you. Now, what happens when she lied to you just like Tasha lied to you? What's going to happen when she cheat on you? How are you going to respond? What's going to happen when you find out she a person, not a white person? What's going to happen when you find out that white people are people? Because I've seen that. I've seen black folks get with white people, even in friendships, and they expect white people to be an upgrade because they're white. And what happens when you find out that just because they talk proper don't mean they don't lie, just like and talk about you behind your back like everybody else?
Come on, Baba. Come on,
What
Baba.
happens? Where do you go then? You know, you gonna try to come back to us? We might not want you.
That's a fact, Baba.
You know, you try to come back and join the clique again. We like, no, man, you hang out with Brett now. What happened with Brett? Huh?
Right.
What happened with Brett? Oh, Brett had you invest in some offshore property that didn't exist. Oh, okay.
Or off you, because Brett, I've been seeing a lot of those divestors. And shout out to brother Phil Scott. He does stories on. He called them Divestor Chronicles. But you have Brad off of them, Baba. So some of them sisters never even make it back because Brad didn't off them. You know.
Yeah. Now you get back on those relationships. On that end, I mean, white folks are violent. They have a violent culture, very violent culture. And it's funny how we don't see it because we're blinded by our own inferiority complex, right? Like I said, white supremacy to me is not as dangerous as black inferiority. Because you can call out white supremacy. That doesn't mean that you've gotten over your own inferiority complex. And again, your level of consciousness dictates how you respond to the world around you. So we'll scream Black Lives Matter, march, 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 but we're not open to other ideas because we don't think we're capable of doing it. So when I say, let's pull our children out these public schools and build our own schools, even though you'll acknowledge the racism in the public school, you'll acknowledge that they're monetizing black failure in the public school, but because of your lack in belief in us, an idea like let's do it for ourselves, that's foreign to you. That's impossible. That's like okay, that's extreme. You way out there. But not because you think white folks gonna stop us. It's because you don't think black people can even start
it. Facts,
so
Baba.
Another level of consciousness, right, would be when we breaking the myth of white supremacy in our minds. Because I go to a lot of, and you do too, you go to a lot of Black Power meetings where they talk about what white folks ain't gonna let us do.
Right. Facts.
You go to a lot of Black Power meetings where we talk about what black folks can't do. Black folks ain't gonna come together to do that. Ain't nobody gonna come to that. Black folks ain't gonna do, man, what, why are we in here? Because I don't come to meetings to lose. I ain't never been in, I used to play sports. I never got in a huddle in a football game and was like, yeah, man, they probably finna run a touchdown on us, but let's have fun. Right? So we have to get in a position, we have to get in a stage of our consciousness where we see the victory. Where we can build a plan, build a path, work on it, and see the victory. What are we building with this? Don't come on my page talking about some, that we was here first and we're the Native Americans and we're this. Okay, that's good. What are we building with it though? Where's the Black Native American monument? How much land has the Black Native American movement acquired this year? Because they sell land now. How much paperwork we got to do before we finally go get some land? Or do we just want to be right, Dr. Maat?
Right.
I'm just wondering.
No, right? I just want to be, like you said, just want to be right. Because I'm with you, Baba. I'm beyond all that stuff. I'm in the building phase. What are we going to what are we building?
Right. People used to come to temple, Dr. Maat, and be like talking bad about the church and Christians. I can't stand Christians. I'd be like, man, quit talking about Christians. Quit. Because look what white Jesus got nations. Arab Allah got nations. Asian Buddha got nations. Let's talk about what this African God we talking about gonna build. What we got. Let's compete with the church instead of talking bad. So they do all that with bad information. What can we do with the right information then? And if we're not having those conversations, if we're not having conversations about what we can build with this knowledge, then there is no evolution. Then the children's not coming behind it. I love my Nation of Islam, brothers and sisters. Can you think of another movement, right, that built the Black America inside of America like the Nation of Islam did in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s? They had schools from coast to coast, farmland, trucking companies, bakeries, the whole 9 yards. Right now today, though, and I love the nation, my brothers and sisters are struggling. And one of the reasons why, they stopped funding the schools. They're having the same problem a lot of us are having. You real pro-black, but your children ain't.
Come on, Baba.
You a super Hebrew, but your child just a mini Hebrew. He just a Hebrew because if he don't say Yahweh, he don't get nothing to eat that night. If you're not building schools, if you're not building institutions to create the next generation, what level of consciousness are y'all in as a collective?
Come on. And Baba, he talks about group consciousness. He talks about it. Group consciousness. Yeah. What does the consciousness look like as a group? Not your individual consciousness, but as a group.
As a group. Because that's going to be a direct reflection. Right? So that's something we have to pay attention to. Right? There's global business that could be done right now. There are goods that could be manufactured right now. Land that could be cultivated right now. Family, when you're out here looking for truth, when you're out here looking for information, one question I want to make sure you ask any teacher that you're listening to, what are we building?
Come on. Come on, Baba.
What are we building? And don't tell them I don't want the dream, I want the plan.
Yeah, see, that's why, and Baba, that's why I didn't donate. I'm not going to say any names, but there was a certain individual years ago, and I'm talking like 8 years ago, I got exposed to the individual. And this individual was asking for money, to build a school. And I saw a lot of Black folks giving this individual money. And I remember having a conversation with Uncle Cat. I said, Uncle, I'm not giving this individual any money. He said, why? I said, because this individual has yet to show me a plan. So it sounds good. Oh, I'm going to have the boys do this and the girls do that. And the curriculum is going to look like this. And the curriculum is going to look like that. I need to see a plan. I need to see the curriculum. I need to see the budget. How much money does this cost? And I'm talking about a breakdown of the budget. How much does this cost? Don't just tell me you need $1 million or $2 million, $3 million. I need to see a breakdown of the budget. I also want to see, hold on, Baba. I also want to see a sustainability plan. So once you get the money, okay, we give you $2-3 million. How are you going to sustain this? Who are your teachers? So it's a lot of things that you just don't hand people money blindly, right? I mean, unless you're a fool, but you just don't hand people blindly. I want to know where my money is going. And because that individual never presented a plan, that's why I never donated. I need to see a plan. There was also another individual. There was another individual, and probably as soon as I say it, you all know who I'm talking about, who wanted everybody to invest in this fund to purchase some land. I'm not going to talk about who that individual is, but this individual was asking for $500. Oh, this is a fund. We're going to rebuild this. We're going to get the land. We're going to rebuild. I never, ever gave that individual any money because that individual did not have a plan. And so I refuse to give money to anybody who doesn't have a plan. Now, Baba, while you're talking, I'm going to pull up the plan that I recently submitted, which is pending with the National Science Foundation, the National Security Agent, for $3.6 million, because I want to show the people what a plan looks like. But go ahead, Baba.
What a plan looks like.
But go ahead,
and
Baba.
The thing is, and then tell them you don't have to have a plan yet. But if you don't say that, if you don't have a plan yet, say we're putting the plan together, and that, you know what, if I don't get your money, I need your mind. Be a part of it. And that's my thing. Anybody, if you join a movement, join it as someone who wants to work inside that movement. And if they don't have work for you, that's not the movement for you. If your only work is donating, that's probably not the movement for you. If the only, and be careful of being trapped into self-aggrandizing situations where as long as I make you feel good about yourself, you'll keep donating, you'll keep coming back, you'll keep following, you'll keep subscribing. Consciousness is about being self-aware first. And we have to be careful of our egos, that we don't get trapped in situations where, you know what, we can all point the finger at this group over here, so I don't have to look at who? Me. I used to tell brothers that was in the streets, and they would come out like Crips and Bloods, and they would come into the movement, right? And I'm like, okay, have we dealt with that mentality as a Crip and Blood, as a black person, to where we're always looking for another black enemy? That anger towards black people, that anger towards self, that manifests itself as anger towards other black people. Have you dealt with that? Because if you haven't, you're going to join the movement and you still going to look for another black enemy. So if you join the movement and we the RBGs, somebody going to split apart and say they the real RBGs. Somebody else going to split and say they the super RBGs. Somebody else gonna split and say they the mega RBGs. But it's really just a mentality that continues to manifest itself. You can find it in some of our revolutionary organizations. You'll have one called the Super African Party. They're gonna split up and say, well, now we're the mega African Party. But what happened was there was a meeting and two egos clashed, and because they failed at the conflict resolution, because they brought this same mentality into the organization, right? Now they're splitting up because the destination is still not more important than their egos.
Absolutely.
Where we're going is still not more. I've seen organizations break up over an argument on ticket prices for an event. But it really wasn't about the ticket. It was about overdeveloped egos trying to unify, but not working on self. And how do you know you're not working on self? You don't know how to yield. You can't yield without feeling harmed. You can't stop and listen to the other side. You turn to somebody and say, see, Dr. Maat never liked me. Let me tell you everything I did for Dr. Maat. Boop, 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 boop. So I ain't even going to the meeting next week. Now, I thought we all came together to uplift the community. How did Dr. Maat, what she did to you, throw you off your square? Or what you think happened to you? Perhaps you're just afraid of the mission. Perhaps a lot of us are afraid, and we get inside and we look for excuses to splinter up, to leave, to water it down, so we won't be held accountable for all this mess we talking. You got people who call themselves generals without armies.
Baba, say that it's
kings without kingdoms.
Without kingdoms, Baba. Come
Queens
on.
Queens without queendoms.
Come on, Baba.
Princes who don't have royal parents. You understand what I'm saying? Like we we say conscious community, but we're not establishing physical locations.
Facts, Baba. Facts. And let me show the people this. So, family, I submitted a proposal back in October. It's actually still pending. And I believe that it's pending because they're looking at their budget, Bob, and trying to see if they could give us the money. But it's $3.6 million. And this was for an African-centered STEM academy for middle school students in Baltimore. All right. And so there was a brother. What happened?
I say, let's make that happen.
Yeah, let's make it happen, Baba. So I teamed up with a brother. His name is Dr. James Holly out of the University of Michigan, and he and I co-authored this proposal. And so notice, family, it's a 25-page proposal. Let me enlarge this because I want to show you all the level. When you're trying to get some money from some folks and you want people to fund you, we started off with a project summary. This is our table of contents where we described the motivation for the program. Well, it's an African-centered academy, but the motivation for it, the program overview, the intellectual merit, right? So what kind of intelligence can we collect from it? So we execute this program, what will we learn, right? Once we execute the program. And what we're arguing for is African-centered education for African children, right? So then we'll learn better ways to educate African children, and we'll study those approaches while we're running this academy. So the intellectual merit, then the broader impact. How will this African-centered STEM-based academy impact society, right? So we discussed the broader impact. Then we gave them a review of literature where we talked about how infusing cultural knowledge into teaching STEM positively impacts Black children. And we talked about what African-centered education in STEM looks like, right? And we talked about how STEM can be supported through literacy. Then after that, hold on, Baba. I just want to show people what what we do. We don't just sit around and talk. All right. So
No,
then
this
after
is
that,
beautiful.
thank you, Baba. So then after that, we talked about the program design. So who are we targeting? What does recruitment look like? What does enrollment process look like? Who are the program personnel? Okay. What are the program learning objectives? What does the curriculum look like? Okay. And then it says the research plan, because remember, Baba, I said that we're going to study, right, the best ways to educate African children. So what does that research plan look like? And so if I continue going down, you see our motivation is here. And we're saying, look, we don't see a lot of Black folks going into STEM. And we feel like it's because their interests and the way that they learn. I'm talking about Black children, they're just not interested in it. And the ones who are interested in it, their interest isn't supported when they get exposed to this Eurocentric curriculum. So we're arguing that. Then we give the program overview, the intellectual merit, the broader impact. We go into the review of literature. Hold on, Baba. Then the academy design. Who are we targeting? All right. Look at this now. See our personnel is here. That person who was trying to get the money from their school, did they show you a personnel and give you the qualifications of the people who are doing this? No. But you see this academy that we want to establish, we gave them the credentials of everybody who's behind it. Everybody who's behind this. Keep going, Baba. Look at this. The curriculum focus. So look at our curriculum. This is the curriculum we want to utilize. A schedule. Hold on, Baba. This is a year-round academy. Timelines. The questions that we're studying in our research plan. How does African-centered pedagogy impact student learning of STEM concepts? To what extent does African-centered approach sustain students' interest in STEM? How can literacy impact students' ability to comprehend and explain and apply STEM concepts? This is a plan, family. This is a plan. And then, of course, at the end, we have our bibliography. Gotta have the bibliography at the bottom. But this is a plan. And Baba, so that's why when that individual was, I need to get a school, I need some money. I said, where's the plan? I need something in black and white to show me, what are you doing? What are you doing? You get this money. Okay. What does your personnel look like? Who's your committee? Because you can't do it by yourself. So where's your team? And then show me the credentials of your team. Show me their experiences and their background. Right. And so, Baba, we got to get into the habit of doing that when people come to us and, like you said, they present to be pro-Black and they have these bright ideas about institutions that they want to build. What is your plan? And then let me see your plan. And once I see your plan, if I think it makes sense, then maybe I will give you 1,000 or 2. But I need to see your plan first.
Well, see, when you were presented with that, you were in a phase of consciousness where you were comfortable asking the tough question. Mm-hmm. You were in a phase of consciousness where you wasn't so happy that someone and so uplifted that someone was making you feel good about being Black, that you said, whatever you doing, brother, the way you did, what a good preacher is gonna get a good collection plate.
Facts.
And so when you're in the earlier phases of consciousness, though, where a lot of our people are, where enough of us are, where if it feels good, I'm gonna support it. If it feels good, I'm gonna do this. I'm not gonna ask the hard question because I don't want to be ostracized from this. I want to be a part of this. So I'm not gonna ask that hard question, right? So that's when you get to that phase of consciousness where you're balanced and you don't need to belong. You're going to ask the questions. You're balanced. You're going to ask the hard questions. You're going to look people in their eye and say, okay, what is it that you're planning to do for our people? I invite questions about the Uhuru Academy, what we're doing, what we've done, what our vision is. We invite those. I tell parents all the time, I don't want you in the school if you're not going to ask me questions, if you're not going to tell me when you see something that's not there, right? We need that. That's how we improve. That's how we grow. But when you're in the phase of consciousness where you're excitable, then you're easy to take it. It's easier to take advantage of you. You're in a vulnerable state. And so we have to recognize when we're in that vulnerable state. And those of us who are not, those of us who've gone beyond that, don't take advantage of those who are in that vulnerable state, who are excitable, who are just ready to be a part of something. Don't just throw your Cash App out there because folks are excited about you, right? And so, again, phases of consciousness. When those things happen, you almost can't come in and tell people, no, don't go for that yet. Ask these questions. Oh, you hating?
Oh yeah. I got
Oh,
accused of
you
that too.
hating? Why
Yeah.
you? Oh, you want to tear a black man down? Oh, you hating? Oh, you want to tear? Y'all tearing each other down. Oh, why can't y'all just come together? Like this is not a unity situation.
Facts, Baba.
Matter of fact, what we're telling you to do is helping that person.
Right.
Okay. If a
Right.
brother come to you and say, I'm Pataj or Hootie Hotep, and we're building the temple of black upliftment, send me $25 right now. And I tell you, don't send him $25 unless he can tell you what that is, what y'all gonna be doing, what the plan is. He might need to hear that question.
Right.
He might need to hear that question. And if he scoffs at answering it by calling you names, then you let him know you're not mature enough to lead yet. Keep growing.
That's right.
Period.
That's right.
We're all growing. But when your ego takes over, you cease to grow. So that's just that, and that's a part of it, Dr. Mayada. A lot of us get stuck at a certain phase in our consciousness, and it's hard to get out of it. Y'all continue to move as a student.
Mm-hmm.
Continue to move as a student. So-called leaders out there, those of you who are leading, I ain't gonna say so-called, those of you who are leading, you're a student too.
Absolutely. A student first.
A student first. Remain a student. I told a popular black figure once, don't let black people make you Jesus. They crucified Jesus, bro. Don't let black people make you Jesus. Humble thyself. Don't believe your own hype. Believe in yourself. Don't believe in your own hype. Remain humble. Remain transparent, especially if you're taking on the responsibility of uplifting your community.
Ashe. And speaking of which, I know we talked about the phases of consciousness, and the brother who asked a question about people who possess consciousness. Why do they date someone who looks like they're oppressor? And so my response, my rebuttal to that brother was that because of the way their consciousness was shaped. And so who is shaping your child's consciousness right now? And then speaking of which, Baba, let's jump into the camp and close out. So family, I want to show you a 1 minute, literally a 1 minute commercial. Okay. A 1 minute commercial on what we are offering this summer. So here we go.
Black people are not only the fathers and mothers of humanity, we are the fathers and mothers of civilization. And there is no civilization without science, technology, engineering, the arts, and mathematics. African-centered STEAM is what got us here. And African-centered STEAM is going to take us where we need to go. The Uhuru Academy and Conscious Ingenuity have teamed up to launch a live, virtual Black History and STEAM camp for youth ages 7 through 16 from July 18, 2022 through July 29. Tuition is just $60 a day, and students will learn the history of Black people in STEAM and receive a STEAM kit delivered to their door that will include microcomputers, LEDs, nodes, and more to work on projects with Dr. Oyamaya of Morgan State University. Our glorious past meets our limitless future. Go to uhuruacademy.com to enroll today or call 682-233-5054 for more information. The most valuable investment you'll ever make is in your child's mind. Peace.
Ashe, family. So, what are your babies doing this summer? We don't need, the babies just running around outside. I mean, that's fun that they go outside and they go to the pool and they're in the neighborhood. But what's happening with their minds, right? And so, I'm sorry, I done took myself and you off the screen, Baba. I'm over here like, why do I just see the website up, right? Took both of us out the screen, right? So anyway, during the summertime, that's a pet peeve of mine when parents don't have their children engaged in enrichment activities. There are numerous things that your child could be doing over the summer that's constructive, and I wholeheartedly believe that the Uhuru summer camp is one of those things. And so Baba I'm telling you, it's a beautiful camp. Baba, I'm not as good as you with pitching. So Baba, you go ahead, Baba, and take the wheel.
Right, right. Hey, look, family. All right. Summer's almost over. A lot of people are going back to school in August, and you haven't put your baby in anything yet that's feeding their mind, that's going to give them that confidence boost that they need going into the school year. Some of you are ready to pull your babies out of the school system, but you don't have something local, right? And you're not sure because the school messed up virtual education. They did such a horrible job during COVID. When you see something virtual, like, oh no, they're not gonna like virtual. I'm gonna tell you something. Uhuru Academy Online is the greatest education experience, right? Online live education experience in the world for Black children today. And that's not commercial Baba talking. That's just what it is, right? And the Uhuru Academy STEAM Camp 2022 is an extension of that. Right. We are proud to have partnered with Conscious Ingenuity and Dr. Maat to bring this STEAM camp where students will not only learn about our glorious past, but they're going to tap into their limitless future. Right. So we're going to do ancestor reverence every morning. We're going to exercise in the morning. We're going to do some academic enrichment. They're going to work on some basic reading and math skills. And then we're going to get into the African history of STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. Y'all know we the fathers and mothers of civilization. Couldn't do it without science, technology, engineering, the arts, and math. We about to get specific, right? So, and I will tell y'all, your scholar will probably know the most Black history in the house when they're done. Don't get mad. Don't get discouraged. Just get up on your game. Okay. So once they get the African history, then they go into conscious ingenuity. And now you're going to take all of that energy that we built up, that pride that we built up in the beginning of class. We finna transfer that pride into direct, skill-based, project-based learning with conscious ingenuity. All right. We're sending STEM kits directly to the homes of our students. Right. So they're going to be building mini computers, like about nodes and transistors and how that works, remote control technology and how that works. And they're working not just with any engineer. They're working with an engineer who makes engineers for a living. And that's Dr. Maat. All right. So, and they're not just getting African history from any old Black history teacher. They're learning from a brother with over 30 some odd years experience. I'm gonna tell y'all something. I can teach our story to our children. For real. All right. So it's like going to a basketball camp being led by LeBron James and Cynthia Cooper. You understand what I'm saying? Like that's the level. That's the level of experience and fun and engagement that your children are gonna have. It's just $60 a day, right? $600 for the full camp. That's all, right? Come on. And if you don't have a child to put through the camp, guess what? You can sponsor somebody else.
Absolutely. And Bob,
we're building scholarships, right? We have students and families. We have students who love STEM. Family don't have the resources, but they're engaged parents and they want to be involved. We're raising scholarship money for them, right? So all you need to do is hit up $ Uhuru Academy, and your donation goes directly towards the camp. All right.
Absolutely.
Hey, I don't know no other way to say it, but
Baba,
we're not just talking about it. We're being about it, We're being about it. In the morning, when I wake up in the morning, it's game time. I'm gonna do my chalk like LeBron. Boop, 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 boop. It's game time.
That's right.
Right? It's game time. Get your children in on this, right?
Look at it. And Baba, look, I want to show them the lessons. This is just the intro, Baba, where they're going to be learning. This is introduction.
Right.
This is introduction to programming. Introduction.
Oh, yeah.
Introduction. Look at this.
Interactive, colorful, teachers with energy.
Mm-hmm. Look at that. You see that? You see the codes, Baba?
Look.
We ready?
We ready.
Learning about the microbit.
Yeah.
The different parts of the microbit. And look at this. Baba, we not playing. Baba, we not playing.
Our children deserve the best. Your children deserve the best.
Ashe.
All right.
Ashe, Baba.
Come on now. We want our children not to just be stuck we don't want our children to just be consumers of the technology. We want them to get behind the technology, become creators and innovators of the technology for us, for our benefit. We want to beat the enemy to the future. Yeah, you understand what I'm saying? Come on, y'all. Let's get it in.
Let's get it in.
Spread the word. If you donate, if you don't donate, you can talk, you can post, you can spread the word. Let people know it's a 2-week camp. All right, and we'll be enrolling all next week too. Thank you, Roy Gardner. Roy Gardner jumped right in with a $50 donation. Asante Sana.
That's what I'm talking about, Bob. And guess what, Roy? Just having a transparent moment with you. Baba and I were just talking about this yesterday. There's a brother who's incarcerated. His family, he has a son that enjoys STEM. He reached out to me, said, "What kind of programs could I put him in?" I said, Baba, is always my go-to. Him and brother Marcus Klein. So I said, holla at him. He out of that, Baba. Baba said, "I'm gonna take care of him. We just still got to raise the money." And so what you just did, brother Roy, was you just contributed to That's that, right. to the tuition for, and the reason we got to charge tuition, family. Look, we got STEM. Bob, I keep telling people, STEM is so resource heavy, it's ridiculous. Right. You got mini computers, you have LED modules and buzzers and motors and all sorts of stuff that the child, the kit at Bob will tell you alone was close to about over $100, just the kit by itself. So family, these things cost. So when we come up with these numbers for tuition, we're not trying to get rich. I'm not trying to get rich. Bob's not trying to get rich. No. We're just trying to say, hey, you give us this money, we can buy the equipment, whatever the children need, whatever technology they need, we can make it happen. Okay, family. So that's what we're doing with the tuition. And my son Jalen is getting ready to be a pupil. Been down. They can't
even happening, Jay?
He said, "What's happening?" He said, "What's happening, Jay?" Hold on. There you go. He said, "What's happening, Jay?"
What's happening, Jay? How you doing, bro?
I'm good. How about you?
Man, I'm doing good. Looking forward to this new year. You're looking forward to. I'm just energized, man. Having a young genius like yourself joining the school. Welcome to the Uhuru Academy.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I tell him you look forward to being there. What you say? Tell him you look.
And I do look forward to being there.
Absolutely.
Cool. Hey, I know you're gonna make fast friends too, man. We got a lot of returning students around your age, and what do you like? What are you into, man? Are you into computers? You into sports? What are you into?
I'm mostly into computers and sports.
Okay, well, we got plenty that are into that too. So we got, matter of fact, we have a STEM club, like a coding club, that I think you probably be really, really excited to be about. So they call it gaming club. We let y'all game a little bit, but it's about learning how to design the game. Okay, okay, cool. Hey, bro, you're gonna have a good time, man. I'm looking forward. I'm energized about you joining the crew,
and I'm looking forward to it too. Thank you for having me.
Hey, no problem, man. And you look, don't get mad when I give y'all that homework, cause it's coming, but it's all good, man. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
We're gonna challenge you too. I'll see you soon, brother.
All right, see you soon, Baba.
All right.
All right, so family, look, we I'm not just telling you pour your child out, and then my child, like you said, Baba, is at John Paul Regional Catholic School, right? I'm not saying that. Like, I literally, family, when I say pour your children out of their system and put them into our system, I'm doing it, family. You know what I mean? So it's not something that I'm playing with. And when I ask you to do something or invest in something, I'm not asking you to invest in something that I'm not investing in. Family, pour your children out of that system.
Yeah.
Get your children out of that system.
We'll figure it out together. And we tell all our families, we're building our schools together. We're building our school system together. And Absolutely. This is the work. Right? This is the work. We can work on our children while building. We can educate our children while building our own schools at the same time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No way. All the PhDs we got and intelligent and creative brothers and sisters we got running around out here. Can't tell me we can't do it.
Yeah, we can.
Something else going on.
Baba, I had to show them, Baba. I had to show them the ASAFO training camp that we've launched. I've launched it, brother Baba Imhotep and myself. We partner up to offer the community an ASAFO training camp. It's going to launch on July the 31st, and it's going to end on August the 6th. Family, we already, Baba, the slots are gone. It's done. We have all the boys that we need. We have all of the boys that we need. And look at this. This is just a video showing that, some of the exercises that our boys will be doing, just them out, like a little clip of it. But look at this. It says core areas of focus, good character, EY Riri, the 7 principles of Ma'at, and Guzo Saba, physical fitness, self-defense. They have a study book, African Manhood in the 21st Century, strategic thinking, where they're going to play chess. And so we have a schedule online. And Baba, what I'm working toward, or what we are working toward, is being able to, I would love to offer this camp to people outside of the state. And so maybe, next year we can offer housing for parents who want to, bring their boys up here. And I want the parents to actually stay though. But if you want to come up and, you're not in the DMV area and you want your child to attend the SAFO camp, training camp, arranging, some housing for, people like that. And so this year, all of our boys are local, but next year we do plan to open it up. Now it's for our local boys, but if there were some parents who said, well, look, I don't even care that it's local boys, I'll drive up, I'll get my own Airbnb and stay for a week, they could have done that as well. But I think all of the slots may be taken because we were only taking in 14 boys. And I believe the last time I checked, it was like 11. And so I believe that there was 4 slots left, but in my heart of hearts, I think those 4 slots are gone. But anyway, family, we're offering a yearly SAFO training camp in Baltimore. Okay. And I'll drop the link in the chat just in case you all would like to peruse the site. But family, we got to get our babies involved in stuff like this, Baba.
Great work. Great work. And shout out to yourself and Baba Imhotep for this great effort. Shout out to Brother Marcus Klein. Shout out to my sister Cheryl Irvin. Shout out to my whole team here at UASC International. All of us that are out here and more, all of us that are out here, institution building, program development, curriculum development, boots on the ground, building safe spaces for our children to thrive. Shout out to my sister Ashley Prince in Houston, Texas, the Prince Circle of Legends Academy in 5th Ward. Just shout out to all those innovators out there, Ikaji and D in Detroit with Liberated Farms out there in the middle of the hood in Detroit growing food. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
yes. I mean, it's so there's so many great things, and again, that's another phase of consciousness. When you get out of that, because what that frustration phase does, Dr. Maat, it makes you say things like this: ain't nobody out here doing nothing. Ain't nobody out here getting nothing done. That's not true. I'm gonna tell you something. There's never been a point in our history in this side of the world where some of us wasn't trying to get free, ever. Ever. There's never been a phase where Black people weren't trying to do something. Oh, it's somebody doing something. It's probably somebody doing something close to where you are. You just got to find them. You got to open your eyes to it. Frustration will blind you from seeing what's right in front of you. But we working our way together. We're working ourselves. The work will unify us, y'all.
Ashe.
All right.
Ashe. And Sister Becky Brown.
Yeah.
You said the work will unify. Sister Becky Brown, she said, is the coding class virtual as well? Absolutely.
Yes.
Becky Brown. Absolutely. The coding class is virtual and I'm teaching it. I'm teaching it. And so they're going to be learning. We're going to start with coding blocks. And if we can make it to Python or another programming language, probably Python. But if we move into Python, if we have enough time to play around with that, we will. But yes, the coding class is virtual as well. Miss Becky Brown. All right, Baba. So we're gonna wrap up, family.
Okay.
We'll be back though. Baba and I probably come back on in the middle of the week to tell you all how it's going. So the camp starts this Monday, but it's not too late to enroll your child. I repeat, the camp starts this Monday, but it's not too late to enroll your child. I'm gonna throw the link in the chat again. Enroll your child ASAP and get them in there. Your child will be personally taught by Baba Amin and myself. Okay. So get them in there. And it's only for 2 weeks. A beautiful 2-week experience from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Beautiful experience. Okay. All right, family. Baba, do you have any closing words?
Black love is Black power, right? Black love is Black power. And remember, consciousness is a process. It's not an event. Keep learning, family. You keep learning and keep building.
Keep learning and keep building. Ashe. So with that, family, have a Black-tastic week.